Hello, everyone. This is Amer Abedi from RemitONE. I hope everyone is well. I can see we have a big audience today. That's great. So thank you for joining this webinar. So the idea of this webinar is to highlight some of the challenges that the industry is facing. There are lots of things. There are lots of things that are going to be obvious to most of you. And of course, what we're going to do is we're going to propose some solutions as well. So without further ado, I'll start. So we will go through some limitations and challenges in the industry. We will talk about how we can break those limits. And by limits, I mean how we can surpass those challenges and realize massive success in these challenging times. So this webinar is ideal for CEOs from CEOs, operational managers, compliance managers, IT managers, startups, remittance operators. Let me just minimize this window. Yeah. Remittance operators, banks, telcos, mobile money operators, post offices, microfinance institutions, and even supermarkets who are actually looking at this space keenly. Now, the promise, which is my promise to you, is that in this session, by the end of this session, you will have gained some a very good idea about the challenges in the industry and how industry players like RemitONE and many others are working to address those challenges, and how we can help the industry, and how we can help the startups in this industry, how we can help those MTOs that are, who are established but struggling due to the challenges, the obvious challenges in the industry. So we'll come up with practical suggestions at the end by the end of this webinar. You will have a very good idea. Now, let me ask you this. Does this sound like your business? If you are the CEO of your company, and this company could be a startup company, or it could be an established MTO, it could be a bank, or any one of those entities that I mentioned earlier. If you are the CEO, your main priorities would most likely be centered around business growth, regulation, and budget. So you want to grow the company. You have to be mindful of regulation at all times. You have to stay compliant at all times in this industry, because it's a very heavily regulated industry. AML, CFT, compliance, KYC, due diligence, EDD, so on and so forth has to be on your mind at all times. And of course, you will obviously have your budgetary constraints. If you are from the operations area in your company, then some of the things that will be weighing heavily on your mind are disparate information, dealing with disparate information or disparate sources of information from multiple areas of your business, manual transactions, how to handle complaints, and of course third-party integrations, because in this industry, as you all know, correspondent agent partnerships are crucial. So you have a system, you'll be working with a system, you'd want to send transactions to several correspondents in various parts of the world, and for that you need to have integrations done. You cannot use files or spreadsheets to send transactions in an unsecured way. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, compliance. With regards to compliance, you want to be, if you are a compliance manager at your firm, your priorities would be centered around KYC and AML, security. And from an IT perspective, if you're from the IT department, again, you would be handling integration, third-party integrations, infrastructure, reliability, disaster recovery, DR support, etc. With IT, the integrations will not only encompass correspondent agents, but they will encompass integrations with mobile apps, for example, or independent ID verification providers, payment gateways, payment processors. So there's a plethora of integrations that fall under your remit if you are from the IT department. So this is what I think is the, these are what I feel are some of the root cause of the problems in our industry. Number one, lack of technology adoption, change in mindset. So by that I mean that, the remittance industry has historically been a very non-tech industry. The way is one of the oldest industries in the world, is one of the very few industries that survived the recent credit crunch, the 2008 to 2009 financial collapse. It survived, it remained buoyant, it continued to grow, it continues to grow. Despite all this was done manually. There was hardly any role technology played in this sector. It is only recently that technology started creeping into this space. What happens is if you come from a remittance background, you are probably, and you can't, obviously there's no blame on you, but you come from that mindset that, okay, everything has to work in a manual way, in a certain way, without the role of technology. For example, when we think of technology today, if you're coming from the remittance space, words like cryptocurrency, words like Bitcoin, words like payment processors, I mean, they can surprise you, they can confuse you, and they can overwhelm you as well. So actually, what we're saying is that it's not as bad as it seems. It's actually very simple. You just need to talk to the right people who will be able to present this information, this complex maze, that they'll be able to help you traverse through this complex maze of information and make it simple for you. It's actually very simple, as you will see through the course of this demo. So technology is key here. People have to change their mindsets. We see all our clients going digital. So historically, our clients were agent-based, and now they're all going digital. And by digital, I mean they're adopting mobile apps, they're adopting online portals, self-service kiosks, sending mobile money, sending airtime, all from one hub, from one platform. Okay, and of course in a compliant, robust, and secure and reliable manner at all times. So this mindset change has to happen, and it's happening in the industry. We're seeing that, and that's the most important thing for players in this industry, starting from the remitter meaning the person who's sending money, through the supply chain members who play a role in moving funds from the remitter to the beneficiary, all the way down to the beneficiary. So this whole process, every single stakeholder, I would refer to remitter, beneficiary, supply chain members as stakeholders in this workflow. They all need to realize the value of technology. Okay. The second cause of the problem, I would say, is regulators not playing an active role in the remittance space. We have some very good organizations, lobby groups in the industry working very hard to support MTOs, MSBs, money service businesses, RSPs, remittance service providers. I mean, we have some really good international lobby groups that are trying to help the industry. However, more can be done by regulators to support these lobby groups and of course other stakeholders who are playing an active role in this industry. The third cause of the problem is de-risking. Now, the famous de-risking myth. Now, by de-risking, in short, when I say de-risking, I'm referring to the closing down of trading accounts, the closing down of bank accounts of MSBs in the UK and in Europe, and it's happening around the world. As we know, it's very difficult for MSBs to get a bank account. Whether you take Australia or Canada on the other end, I mean, it's really challenging. Now, with de-risking, we have some suggestions. Of course, again, it's linked to the first 2 points. It involves the banks having faith in technology adoption, the banks working closely with regulators to start adopting proven technology platforms, making use of modern technology to ensure that fraudulent transactions are detected early on, risk is mitigated, proper EDD, enhanced due diligence, is done on clients, and so on and so forth. All this is possible. All of these things can be addressed. It's just that these three things need to be looked at closely. Now, these are some of the challenges in our industry. These are some of the challenges that you are facing right now. Stricter regulations, as I mentioned earlier, KYC and AML, velocity checks, volume checks, so on and so forth. Licensing, getting licensed. Now, you've got so many different types of licenses. You have your small, what's it called? Small payment institution license. In the UK, you have your authorized payment institution license, which can be passported from the UK across 27 European Union countries. You've got your SEMI, small e-money institution, and you've got the EMI, the AEMI, the authorized e-money institution license, which sits at the top of the chain. So you've got different types of licenses, and you might be struggling to decide which license to go with. You've got Brexit now, with this, you've got the Brexit discussion hanging over these licenses. So what does that mean for your business? Where do you get a license from? I mean, if you want to get an API license, would you get a license in the UK, or would you go to Ireland? Would you go to Nepal or Bangladesh? So, I mean, there are many important decisions that you need to make. We can help you with that, of course. Third challenge is bank accounts. How do you get bank accounts? It's almost impossible now to get bank accounts. What do we do, right? How can you operate? How can you run your business without getting a remittance bank account? And of course, you have these different laws in different regions. You go to US, they have their own sets of rules and regulations. You go to the UK, you have your own own rules stipulated by the FCA. In Australia, Austrac is very stringent. They've got their own sets of they've got their own set of requirements. So it's very different region to region. You're probably wondering, how will you be able to manage this? How will you be able to cope with the various compliance rules and procedures in various regions that you want to operate in? Fraud, of course. I don't need to elaborate on the word fraud. I'm sure we're all aware of that. Merchant account. Now, this is going digital. When you go digital, when you're accepting transactions from, through digital channels like mobile apps or online portals or self-service kiosks, you have to talk about merchant accounts. And we will discuss how merchant accounts play an important role in our industry, and they have a significant role, in my humble opinion, to play in our industry. And of course, how do you find your supply chain members? So if you are okay, I'll give both examples. I'll talk about a startup. So you are a startup MSB. You're new to the industry. You don't know where to go, right? I mean, you have to first of all decide what business model you want to adopt, whether it's going to be digital, it's going to have mobile apps in it, or is it going to be agent-based? If it's agent-based, then it's going to have cash. How do you deal with cash in this tough market? What are you going to do? If it is digital, you need to find a payment gateway, you need to find a payment processor, you need to find an acquiring bank, you need to find a correspondent bank. You need to find a merchant account. How do you do that? There are many, many different supply chain members that you'll have to work with. So again, you might be overwhelmed with this information. So, but I would say that you need to, not worry about these things. There are many, the industry is evolving rapidly, and there are companies who have actually come up with simplified solutions. They've simplified, this whole process of seeking out supply chain members. These solutions exist, which I will talk about shortly. Finally, you have competitive rates. Competitive rates obviously is crucial. This is a volume-based business. So, a remitter would go to an MSB that's offering him or her, the best rate. So how are you as an MSB going to find, the best, the most competitive rates with all your supply chain members? Because whatever the supply chain members charge you, you will need to add your margin and charge the remitter. So this is a complex game, but of course there is a simple solution, which I'll talk about shortly. So What are the solutions? I highlighted the challenges. These are some of the solutions. Change in mindset, as I mentioned earlier. We have to change our approach towards technology. We have to look at technology as a savior for this industry, as a savior of this industry. It is by the industry, it is for the industry, technology, and it has a huge role to play. It's already playing this role, this role. Next thing is to find the right end-to-end solutions provider. So I talked about lots of supply chain members. I talked about merchant accounts. I talked about payment gateways, SMS gateways, correspondent banks. I mean, there are so many entities, so many supply chain members you have to deal with. But if you find the right end-to-end solutions provider, the key words are end-to-end, then you have successfully achieved a very big milestone by finding the right end-to-end solutions provider, because this end-to-end solutions provider should be able to address pretty much all the points, all the challenges that you see are listed here, and I'll justify and I'll explain how. So let me go back to that screen. By gaining access to all the supply chain members, again, you will be able to realize business growth. Once you've got all the supply chain members in place, you've got all the contracts sorted with all of them, then you are good to go. You're ready to go. You're ready to push transactions, live transactions. You need to use reliable technology and pay emphasis on digital channels and compliance. It is very difficult in this industry right now to get a bank account, especially if you are a cash-based business in the remittance space. So people have to understand that although there are very limited options out there for cash-based remittance providers, there are alternatives. If you focus on digital technologies, you have a good chance of setting up your business. And by, I get this a lot. I talk to lots of clients. We get so many inquiries. I'm always, me and my team, we're always at the forefront of this. We talk to many sincere, hardworking people looking to set up a remittance business in this space in various corridors, not just the UK, but around the world. They come with many prospects who come to us. They come to us with very ambitious plans. They want to conquer the world. They want to be the next, Western Union or MoneyGram. All these big names, right? And the reality is that the best way to realize this goal is to start with 1 or 2 corridors and with 1 or 2 channels. So let me elaborate. By corridor, I mean 1 corridor is 1 source country to 1 destination country. That is what I refer to as corridor. By channel, I mean whether it's whether the customer, your end customer, which is the remitter, is reaching out to you through your agent or through your online portal, through your website, or through your self-service kiosk, or through your mobile app. So that is a channel. A channel is either a mobile app, an agent, a branch, or a kiosk, for example. So these are all different types of channels. Yeah. So ideally, if you are a startup, focus on 1 corridor and focus on 1 channel and go with it. Find the right end-to-end solutions provider and make use of the end-to-end solutions provider's network of supply chain members. Remember, this end-to-end solutions provider would typically provide you with not just the supply chain members I mentioned earlier, but also the correspondents as well, the correspondent banks in various countries. If you are an existing business, then you can carry on as normal through a new middle route. Now, by a new middle route, I mean that you might be an existing business, but let's create a hypothetical scenario where your bank account has been shut down. So you're struggling now. You have an established customer base. You're pushing 20,000 transactions a month, but you can't operate now because your bank account's been shut down. What do? You come to this end-to-end solutions provider. this end-to-end solutions provider will provide you with an alternative route for flow of funds. So this is what I refer to as a new middle route. So these are some of the things that will cripple you if you don't have them in place. You need to have scalable technology in place. I mean, this we see with, everywhere. Irrespective of whether you're a bank or a telecoms operator or a startup or an MFI, a microfinance institution, you need scalable technology. So, and by that I mean technology that can sustain your existing business and allow you to grow your business and grow with it, and open up new channels, open up new corridors for you with ease and obviously with rapidity, if that's a word. The other thing that might cripple your business is lack of automation. So, a lot of these tasks in the remittance industry that an MSB fulfills are very laborious tasks. They are quite often labor intensive. So there's hardly any automation. So this means that you have limited resources, and you have to really work. You have to work extremely hard to ensure that the data that you're sending from point A to point B is accurate. I mean, there's just so many of these laborious tasks in running a money transfer operation can be solved through automation, and automation rests on technology. And of course, reliability and integrations. So I already talked about integrations. If you have everything in place, but you don't have integrations with correspondent banks or with your other supply chain members that I talked about earlier, then you're not going anywhere. You won't be able to push transactions in this day and age, right? Because these transactions have to go through those supply chain members to eventually reach your correspondent agents or correspondent banks. And you need to have a proper tech framework in place now. Regulators have realized, one good thing that's happened is that regulators are in various parts of the world, they are pushing the MSBs that fall under their jurisdiction to adopt a reliable technology framework. Yeah, so you can't just send transactional data, sensitive data, in an unsecured way via emails or via faxes. Yeah, so there has to be a proper technology framework in place for MSBs to be able to do that. So to realize business growth, I've already talked about technology. A proven platform is a subset of technology. You do need a platform. This platform should encompass the fund flow. It should encompass the data flow. It should encompass this end-to-end service, all the way, starting from the remitter, all the way down to the beneficiary. Yeah. I already talked about technology frameworks. Okay, now APIs, latest APIs. Just to clarify, when I say APIs here, I'm not referring to the technology APIs that when I say APIs here, I'm not referring to the license that is awarded by the FCA, the regulator in the UK. I'm referring to the technology APIs, which is short for application programmable interfaces. So these you can think of API. Every technology, every piece of software has a hand, and in order to talk to another software system, it has to shake hands with the others. With the system. So each system comes with a hand, and APIs can be thought of as as being a handshake, as being facilitators of facilitating data between two disparate systems, between two completely different systems over a set of XML protocols called APIs. Okay. Now, what's happened in the industry is that you can't, as I mentioned earlier, you cannot send transactional data from via a file anymore. It has to be done in real time. It has to be done in a secure way. This is where these APIs come into play. APIs are very sophisticated. There's so many integrations happening. I think even the number of FTP integrations which used to happen a few years ago between banks and MSBs around the world. They used to push for FTP integrations. That's on a decline based on our latest stats. The API integrations is on the rise. So okay, and of course, as I mentioned, the technology that you use has to be future-proofed. And by that, I mean we are not, this is not a short-term thing. When MSBs look at technology, adopting technology platforms, they have to consider that, okay, today I might be using mobile apps, but tomorrow I might want to offer kiosks, self-service kiosks. I might want to open an online portal. So you need to look at technology and make sure that that this technology, because there's a lot of competition out there, and you need to make sure that this technology that you're using, the technology solution that you have, is able to cope with this, with the trends in the industry. Okay, I will break here. I will break for for questions. Yeah, and if you have any questions at this point in time, please let me know. You can text them, or you can use the mic. How do I expand this? Okay, there it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in our Business Development Director, Tariq Moghrabi, who can share some of the experiences he has in dealing with prospects and clients in the industry. He speaks to them on a regular basis. I'm sure some of his experiences will be very valuable for you all. So Tariq.
Hi, Amr. Thank you for the introduction. Hi, guys. My name is Tariq Moghrabi. I handle the sales activity at RemitONE and basically oversee the day-to-day inquiries that we receive. We receive around 400 to 500 inquiries a month from startups, established businesses, and large MFIs. Obviously, the challenge is with the entry level and startups. Their struggles, their day-to-day challenges that they are facing in this industry, especially with some startups. They basically trying to apply for a license. That's obviously very challenging. Whether it's SPI or API, for a startup API to be able to passport their business into Europe is also very challenging. The requirements and obviously the criteria is obviously very high for a startup to apply for an API, so they settle for an SPI, and then basically they face the challenges of the people with helping them with the collection and also the termination in a different corridor. We can see that there's a strong focus on Africa, the Philippines, and Asia at the moment. This is a booming corridor, and these startups, they require a lot of hand-holding, day-to-day, nurturing from inception to growth. It's basically the passage is full of obstacles, whether it's the expenses, the cost of operation is obviously high, whether they are basically in need of pre-funding. With the payout partner, it's proving to be a challenge. So at RemitONE, not only do we provide a technology solution, but we basically provide a long journey of nurturing the client from A to Z. Actually, the whole end to end, we do it with him. Whether he's basically seeking a license, okay, we can help. Whether he's basically seeking a merchant account, we can definitely help with that. Whether he needs a payout partner correspondent, we can definitely introduce him to the right people who can basically help him explore new possibilities and obviously to achieve his potential. So yes, you can basically, we're doing our best here to educate and create awareness for those startups. Our basically focus is on those startups at the moment in time in a very difficult and challenging industry.
Okay, thank you very much, Tariq. I appreciate that. So welcome back again, everyone. So let me move on to the next slide. These are some of the other challenges you might be facing in the industry. Dealing with unstructured data. This ties in with your operations department. You've got multiple sources of data. You'll have to play with this data. You need to bring structure to this data. How do you do that? You might have credit card information residing on a database. You might have the remitter information residing on a separate database. How do you bring all this together? You might be using software. If you're an existing business, you might be an agent for one of the established MTOs already in the market. Where do you maintain that data? You probably maintain it, in the database provided to you by one of these big 5 players. But you see, when you're working with these players, you're simply an agent for them. This is not your own data. You need to find a way to own this data because the customer is yours. You are the one that's facing the customer. You are the one that's working hard to acquire the customer. So it is only right that you have full access to this data and you decide how to make use of this data, who to send it to, who to share it with, how to share this data, and so on and so forth. Some of the big challenges you will have based on our research and speaking to so many clients on a daily basis is, of course, operational in nature. Most of the costs that you have, big costs that you as a business would incur would be operational in nature. These have to do with third-party integrations, even compliance costs would fall under operations, and so on and so forth. And of course, the workload on your operations team. How much can they do? This ties in with the manual tasks, the tediousness, and the labor intensiveness of these tasks. It's not simple. I mean, there are companies that are doing 10,000 transactions a month. How can you expect a handful of members of the operations team to be able to effectively and efficiently manage 10,000 transactions? I mean, it's a big ask. And of course, as a business, you're probably threatened by the various new business models, coming out of the woodwork, left, right, and center. You have so many different business models coming now, and technology is making it possible for businesses to come up with the most innovative business models you can think of. Right? It's in different, like you've got Facebook. You can send money from Facebook Messenger, for example, or from WeChat now. Recently MoneyGram was acquired by a Chinese giant now, and the whole purpose, part of the reason of that acquisition was, as you probably know, was to compete was to make the WeChat Messenger app compete with the Facebook Messenger app to send funds. So how do you keep ahead of competition? How do you compete? How do you stay competitive? So these are some of the challenges you will have. And of course, the biggest challenge is to make money. How do you make money in this competitive industry? So some solutions, again, we talked about technology-powered automation, technology-powered compliance. So you see, with tech-powered compliance, you can do a lot of things. If you have a digital channel, a mobile app, if you are an MSB and you reach out to your customers through your online portal or through a smartphone app, for example, which you can do through technology, then your end customers, who are typically the remitters, they can upload scanned copies of their passports. That will be digitized. That will be handled by technology. It will be it will be run against database sanctions lists, etc. OFAC lists, UN sanctions list, EU sanctions list, DFAT, Bank of England list, HM Treasury. So many lists out there. All your customers, end customers, can be checked against these lists in an automated way. The number of transactions they do per month, the amount they send, the amount they receive per month can all be monitored, to comply with regulatory needs, to meet regulation, to meet regulatory needs, of course. All this can be done, simplified. If the passport has expired, for example, the transaction can be halted. I mean, there's so many things. It's all that can be handled by technology. And of course, if you as an MSB are able to identify customer behavior, then you have a significant edge over your competitors because you know what your customer can do. Now, the technology solutions out there will help you identify customer behavior. I mean, they should be able to help you identify customer behavior. And of course, I don't need to stress, of course, a multi-channel platform would be ideal in this scenario. And basically by multi-channel, I mean one platform, one technology solution that you can use to reach out to your customers through various channels, as I mentioned earlier, and also allow your customers to create transactions of different types. So your customers should be able to create airtime transactions, mobile top-ups, or mobile money, send mobile money to the beneficiaries, or pay their utility bills, for example, all from, or top up your cousin's prepaid card, in a different country, for example. I mean, there are so many possibilities, endless possibilities, and it's right there. It's the technology exists, the solutions exist. So I talked about multi-channel approach, and of course, the ideal solution is to find one solution provider for everything, because this will help you with costs. This will save you time to market your products and services to your customers. It will save you time in terms of if you're a new company, it will save you time in terms of getting your license, getting your bank account sorted, etc., etc. So what do these solutions look like? I've talked about these solutions, but how can you visualize them? It's a bit tricky on this webinar to make you to explain how these solutions look. But these are software solutions, of course. But typically, the end-to-end solutions encompass licensing. So if you're not licensed, the end-to-end solution provider should help you get licensed and offer you alternatives to bank accounts. So, I will talk about this point in my next slide. This end-to-end solutions provider should be able to help you get your merchant account, and the funds can flow from the merchant account to the destination account. And of course, this end-to-end solutions provider should be able to bring you its payout relationships. So by payout, I'm referring to the correspondent agents in the destination country. Yeah, because a lot of people we talk to, for example, who are new to the industry, if they want to send money, for example, from the UK to Bangladesh, they might not have a relationship with a bank in Bangladesh to pay out their transactions. So what are they going to do? So they would come to an end-to-end solution provider like RemitONE and basically get everything, get the complete solution. One relationship to cover multiple corridors. Now, this is very pertinent to an established MTO or a bank. If they come to an end-to-end solutions provider, they sign an agreement with the end-to-end solutions provider, they can gain access to multiple corridors because this end-to-end solutions provider will have clients operating in multiple countries. So with one connection, you gain access, instant access to 100 different markets. Now, this is, I was at a conference in the US last year. I spoke at the conference, and one of the things I noticed is that the MSBs in the US are very protective of their agents. They love their agents because they've been working with agents. They've had this cash-based business model for 20, 30 years. So they're very loyal to the agents, and their agents are very loyal to them. And by them, I'm referring to the MSBs. So these money service businesses, they have very close ties with these agents, and they want to help these agents survive in this digital age. And how do you do that? Then the question is, if the government is making it very difficult for cash-based businesses to survive in the remittance sector, then where are all these agents going to go? So there are digital solutions that exist. RemitONE actually provides one of the first of this kind, one of the first digital agent solutions in the market, and I'm happy to elaborate later on this point. Now, this is a typical flow of funds The idea is that if you are struggling with, if you are struggling to get a bank account, a remittance bank account in the industry, the idea is that if there is a solution that allows you to legally bypass the flow of funds to your bank account, then you have a solution here. So, for example, if you look at this on the left-hand side, you have the remitter bank account. Yeah, the funds can flow once you adopt a technology platform, right? That technology platform should be able to move funds from the remitter's bank account, which is the end user's bank account, push them to your merchant account, to you meaning the MSB, you are the MSB, the money service business. The funds will flow from the remitter's bank account to your merchant account. From your merchant account, they can flow to the correspondent bank account. Now, this correspondent bank account can reside anywhere. I'm taking UK as an example. I'm going to make an assumption that the MSB is based in the UK. The merchant account can be based in the UK or in Europe. The correspondent bank account can be in the UK and Europe as well. So the funds are moving from the remitter's bank account straight to the correspondent bank account. And you as an MSB, you know, in this scenario, in this particular scenario, you are bypassing the need to have a bank account in your name. So these are, so once the funds hit the correspondent bank account, they can be pushed to a destination bank account. The destination bank account is the bank account of the payout entity in Bangladesh, for example, where this MSB is sending funds to. So this is one scenario. There are many different scenarios, many different alternative solution providers, alternative solutions out there. You might be working in this scenario. You as an MSB, you're working with just one entity, which is the correspondent bank account entity. However, you can work with a correspondent bank account entity, and you can also work directly with a destination bank account entity. So you will have your own relationship with a bank in Bangladesh, and you will have a relationship with an API in Europe, for example. You can do that. It all depends on what you want. It all depends on your business model. There are many different routes to send money from point A to point B. You know, we can work with you, we can sit with you and discuss what's the best way, you know, the route with least friction. We can help you decide on that. So some of the countries that we support, that, you know, that RemitONE with all its partnerships with these correspondent entities, some of the countries that we support are as follows. We can collect money, funds from Europe and the UK, and we can settle to pretty much everywhere except a few, you know, high-risk countries listed here. So, okay, optimistic about the future in this industry? Yes, of course. It's very exciting. There are so many things happening in the industry. I will share some of the interesting trends here. I'm sure, you know, you're aware of some of them, if not all. Telcos and MFIs are entering the space rapidly. Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya are good examples. India, you know, Pakistan is a good example for MFIs, where MFIs have partnered with telecoms operators and offering remittance services to customers. Mobile money, which is great because it's access to the unbanked. Mobile money operators are, you know, obviously have a very important role to play in the remittance industry, predominantly in the receiving markets like the Philippines, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and across Africa. So these mobile money operators will be dispersing mobile money and airtime as well. So all this is possible. These are some of the trends that we see happening. Cryptocurrencies, another one. I think the corridor Hong Kong to Philippines is very famous because it's unique in that, you know, a large chunk of the remittances from Hong Kong to the Philippines are happening over crypto. So cryptocurrency has already entered the space. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, digital agents. This is, I think, one of the hot topics for this industry. There's going to be a lot of debate on this. It's going to carry on throughout this year. I think you know, a lot of conferences that are, you know, will be talking about digital agents, and by that I mean how can MSBs and the industry help agents go digital. These are some of the trends that we are observing right now, and we are very excited because just to give you an example, the UK government, big entities like the Telegraph, BBC, they are actually approaching, you know, remittance service providers, these end-to-end solutions providers, asking them to give, to share their experiences about the remittance industry, about the money transfer industry. One interesting thing is remittance is a $1 trillion industry, you know, if not more. World Bank says it's $600+ billion. That's through legal channels, but of course the illegal channels, unfortunately, is much bigger. Remittance, I see remittance as the low-hanging fruit. Remittance is a subset of the payments industry. The payments industry is a $23 trillion industry. You're comparing a $1 trillion industry with a $23 trillion industry. The lines are getting blurred, which is a good thing. Remittance is being engulfed by the payment space because a lot of payment providers, payment gateways, payment processors are making inroads into the remittance space, working with remittance companies, MSBs, to provide a secure, digital, sophisticated, state-of-the-art compliance service. So this is happening as we speak. We might see a situation in the very near future where remittances might just become free, and you know, the businesses can make money on value-added services like, you know, airtime, prepaid card, utility bills, and etc. You know, and many other business models, innovative business models will rise. So yeah, so it's a very interesting space. New entrants in the market. As I mentioned earlier, supermarkets are very interesting. Supermarkets can take advantage of this industry, of these end-to-end solutions providers offering, because supermarkets have got the reach, they've got the footfall. Actually, they've got the footfall first. They have loyal customers, and they've got agents, right? They've got tellers. It's an ideal setup, actually. So, for example, for every fifth you know, bottle of milk you buy, you can send a free transaction to Ghana, for example. I mean, all these different types of services can be amalgamated through technology. So it's interesting. We're having some interesting conversations with some supermarket chains as well, you know, in the Middle East. So, okay, so what I will do is I will share one quote from, you know, with you all from an established bank, which is one of the largest banks in West Africa, which is a RemitONE client. And it just, you know, this is a quote from their executive vice president about, you know, the value that a technology platform can bring to the business. RemitONE is going a step further. We're not just providing a technology platform. We are providing an end-to-end solution. So we are that end-to-end solutions provider that we talked about earlier, and we can help you know, our respected clients and prospects survive in this industry, we hope. So we are very optimistic. We are really pushing this agenda. We're working with lobby groups. We're working with leading consultants closely to work on this, to make this a reality, to make it possible for MSBs to get onboarded, licensed, bank accounted, etc. So I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. Any feedback would be most welcome. One second. Yeah, okay. So what I will do is I will we received a question. Let me just read that question. Just give me 1 second. Are you able to talk about general cost and charges to startups? Yes, we can. We're happy to share this information. So I'm going to pass the mic to my colleague Tariq.
Yes, hi again, guys. So basically, the cost for startups, we have packages, 3 different packages. standard, professional, enterprise. Each one basically is for specific business size and business requirements. The standard basically can start from, the cost of a standard package can be around £5,000, and basically it covers the technology solution. It covers the integration with a payment processor or payment gateway. It covers basically compliance and security checks and the sanctions list. So we offer our compliance officer manager with all of our packages. So £5,000, I believe this is the entry level package. Then we move on for the professional, which is obviously it's more suitable for an established MTO or an established player in the industry who knows basically the industry inside out, but he's basically in between, in halfway through the growth cycle. And then we have the enterprise, which is best suited for big MTOs and with numerous agents, with numerous corridors, and also they have a very large operation. You're talking about a business who is basically pushing over 10,000 transactions a month. We consider this client as an enterprise. We offer them premium hosting. We offer them their own independent and exclusive business development manager to look after their queries, day-to-day queries. Obviously, this is basically to be honest, out of as a percentage, the most focus is on standards. It's basically our best-selling product, the standard package, and has been for the past 2 years. But now we can see with the increased demands in terms of more people are getting into this industry. More people are basically aware of API and EMI. We're seeing a little bit of shift in basically the needs, and people are basically demanding a professional package and enterprise package, to be precise, more than standards, because obviously the criteria for getting into this industry has basically increased. So talking about 2017 now, enterprise demand for the enterprise packages has basically increased. So you can the enterprise packages are around £15,000, and they can increase also upon their whether they add some additional stuff. It covers, as I told you, the technology platform, compliance, payout partner, merchant account providers, and basically all those integration with our third parties, whether they are merchant account, whether they are also a payment gateway or an ID verification provider. There will be separate agreements with them. Yes. So going back to the standard packages, as I told you, it was our best-selling product in 2016. The pricing for that is basically around £5,000, excluding VAT, and basically it allows the prospect to push up to 2,000 transactions a month. We will basically provide the hosting services for that platform. We provide the training, seminars, and whether it wants to basically visit us or remotely, we cater to those needs as well. And basically he can have unlimited agents and sub-agents connected to one system. So one system can, one super agent or headquarter can basically monitor the progress, and basically the transaction that his fellow agent is doing. And he can basically expand his business both vertically and horizontally. It's a very versatile package. It comes bundled with many features, the basics ones, to help them start up his business, obviously. And we've seen some clients who start up with a standard package who moved up the scale within 9 or 11 months. They said, we'd like to upgrade to professional and so on. But again, the focus is on standard for us, because we'd like to educate and we'd like to look after the smaller guys. So yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Tariq.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we received a question from our audience.
Prepaid card. Now, how can we tie both business together?
Okay, one second.
So now,
where is it? Why can't I see what's happening here? Okay, can I close this?
Yes, you can. We can read out the question for you.
Yeah, can you please read out the question?
Yeah, question is, we sell prepaid cards, how can we tie both businesses together?
Okay, so we'll have to look at the model. The idea is that The simplest way to do this is to link the prepaid card platform that you use, connect it to the remittance platform that we have via API. And what this allows you to do is your prepaid card customers, right now you're able to provide them with one service, which is topping up their prepaid cards. By plugging them into the RemitONE platform, for example, you can open new business models for them. You can allow them to make utility bill payments, for example. You can allow them to do airtime transactions, send mobile money, and so on and so forth. What this requires, without looking at the specifics, of course, very high level at this stage, what this requires is linking the two systems together. The program manager system that you have with your prepaid card, linking that via API with the RemitONE platform.
I have another question, Amber. Bank accounts have been an issue. Can you confirm that the end-to-end service bypasses the need for me to have a bank account?
Yes. Okay, that's a very good question, and to be honest, I was expecting this question as well. I mean, to be asked a lot. Bank account is indeed an issue, and RemitONE has worked very hard to find about 8 to 10 different partners in the industry who are able to provide an alternative to this bank account solution. The idea is that, obviously everything has to be legal, everything has to be through proper channels. The idea is that within the legal framework, we have to operate in a way that allows the movement of funds from the remitter to the destination bank account. And the way it can be done is by allowing the licensed entity to have a merchant account, for example, and we have the solution to move the funds from the remitter's bank account straight to the beneficiary's bank account in the destination country cross-border. Solutions have evolved, so we are no longer at the mercy of having a bank account, for following the old age-old process. There are many different ways of sending money within the legal framework from point A to point B. Of course, it also depends on the directors in your business, their history. It depends on the country, of course, that you're sending transactions to, and a range of factors. The license that you have, the money service business license that you have. Where do you have that license? The country where, the authority that has given you that license. There are several factors here. The volumes that you do, yes.
Business model has to be basically attractive to the solution provider. Exactly.
Thank you, Tariq. Yeah, you're right. It has to do with the volumes as well, because you think about it, right? A lot of APIs are still in business. They still have their bank accounts intact. And that's because they're generating enough volume for the banks or for the bank account providers to make profit. And that's the reason why these MSBs are still safe. But most of the MSBs in the UK and Europe have had their bank accounts shut down because A, their transaction volumes don't match. They're not able to generate enough revenue for the bank account providers. And B, because of the risk factor. However, as I said earlier, the technology solution that we're offering addresses all the points that we discussed earlier. It addresses the issue of compliance. It addresses the issue of compliance fraud, AML, KYC. It addresses the issue of bank accounts because we're providing alternative bank account channels all within the legal framework. Yeah, and most importantly, it's a relative term, but just as importantly, it helps you grow your business because you can access new markets instantly and increase transaction volumes with this technology. So I hope that answers the question. Can I take any more questions, please? So we have a question here. Yeah.
The question is, do I seek the license for Bangladesh, for instance, or is it the license something that RemitONE can provide or cover multi-corridor?
Okay, so your question is that you want a license in Bangladesh. Do I seek the license? I'm just going to repeat the question. Just bear with me, please. Okay, I understand your question. So the RemitONE does not. Okay, so when you are operating out of Bangladesh, then you need to get a license in Bangladesh from the Central Bank of Bangladesh. RemitONE cannot help you get a license with the Central Bank of Bangladesh. If you and RemitONE is not required to be a licensed entity. RemitONE is a technology end-to-end technology solutions provider. We are not required by law to have a license. Our clients, we are strictly B2B. Our clients are the ones who are required to have a license. And what RemitONE does is that we help our clients get licensed through our partnerships with compliance firms in the UK, in Europe, and other parts of the world. So if you are an existing licensed entity in Bangladesh looking to set up a business in the UK or Europe, then please speak to us. We can definitely help you. I hope I've answered the question. Any other questions?
Do you have a mobile?
Yes, we do have a mobile application. It is, very easy to use. It's very appealing, pleasing to the eyes. It's soft on the eyes. It's a lot of research was done to prepare our mobile app. It's completely white labelable. So by that I mean that if you come to RemitONE with this requirement, we can give you an app which will have your logo, your colors, your branding, and you can offer it to your customers. And the beauty is that it is not you who will have to do the hard work, right? The groundwork. We will do it for you. We will put it on Play Store in Android on Google phone, on Samsungs, and so on and so forth, HTCs and others.
Just going back onto the last question. Sorry, my question is, who takes care of the licenses from the UK outwards?
Okay, so who takes care of the licenses from the UK outwards? So RemitONE, because we are the end-to-end solutions provider, we will connect you to our partners, our supply chain members, which I talked about earlier, and they will handhold you. They will take care of your license. They will ensure that you get your license. Any other questions?
Can you collect money from Canada and the United States?
Yes, we can definitely collect money from Canada and the United States, and the way we can do that again is through our partnerships with these payment gateways and payment processors. So we can please come and speak to us. You have our contact details. You have my colleague Reshma's contact details. You can send a query, and she's happy to arrange a direct session with members of our team. So yeah, we're happy to help. But yes, the answer is yes, we can help you with collections in Canada. Any other questions?
There's one last question here, which I think I can take. What is the delay for installation?
Okay.
So once your requirements are clear, we should be able to set up the system with you in a very short space of time. And the vanilla system can be set up for you within a week or so.
So the system, thank you, Rosa. So the system, in short, can be set up within 5 to 7 business days after receipt of funds. So it's a quick process. As obviously the caveat is that there is a questionnaire we will send to our clients, and the client will respond to the questionnaire, and based on that questionnaire we will set up the system. Any other questions? Okay. I'll give it another minute or two to see if any more questions come in.
Maybe
So thank you very much for your feedback. I appreciate that. Yes, more information is available online on our website. the invite that was sent to you, it had my, our contact details. Feel free to revisit the invite and, reach our contact us page. However, I will also post the, an email address here that you can reach us on. If you have any queries, please email my colleague Reshma. We'll be happy to assist you. Simple address, simple name, reshma@remitone.com. I wanted to just remind everyone that we will be posting this recording. We have recorded this webinar and we will be posting it on our YouTube channel as well. And we will be sharing the links with everybody who attended this, the session today. I would like to thank you all very much for your time. Really appreciate it, and we look forward to speaking to you very soon. And let us know how we can help. We have some very good solutions out there. And I just want to state, I always say, don't be sad. This industry there's a lot of hope, yeah. And this industry is amazing. It's very buoyant. It's thriving, and it's only growing. So you just have to speak to us to understand, the amazing range of solutions we have for you. Thank you.